Hey everybody, welcome to the final Tuesday Talks of 2020. We are going to talk about what we saw this year and kind of our predictions for 2021 in the real estate and mortgage industry, specifically to the Charlotte region. So let me get Angelo on. Hey,
Hey, what's going on?
how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just hopefully I'll be over this COVID here before too long. But yeah, doing pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, we're I always kind of get like the end of the year stress,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
oh my God, I gotta have everything planned out for 2021 and just making sure taxes are ready to go and things like that.
right. Good
So
stuff. How'd you finished out your year strong?
I think so. I think it was
Good.
it was a good year. And I'm sure you had a good year. I think everyone in the real estate industry saw a lot of volume,
Yeah,
probably more so than anyone really expected going into the year. And even when the coronavirus first hit and we went into our first lockdown, I think people were still unsure. But
right.
it seems that everyone ended on a high note from what I can gather.
Cool. Good stuff. Yeah, I had a record-breaking year. Hopefully we'll keep that up into 2021 and beyond. I just want to keep growing, getting better, and just rock and rolling.
And if anybody who watches this has anything that you'd like to see from Angelo or myself as it relates to, your real estate questions about the market, things like that, please let us know. We'd be
Yeah,
happy to help. And we want to make sure that we're staying relevant and we're answering questions that you actually want to know about.
yeah, for sure. So please don't hesitate if you have any questions right now, about the real estate world. Just put it in the comment section below here, and we'll try to answer the best of our ability. And if we don't have the answers, we will find them for you.
That's right.
So 2021 is around the corner this week, man. That's crazy.
I know this is our last Tuesday Talks of
Yes, it
2020.
is. I know it is our last Tuesday Talks. Wow, how about that?
Yeah.
That's a nice little. We've had a nice little run of these Tuesday Talks. I think they've been pretty informative, and so yeah, let's keep it going into 2021. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. About it.
Absolutely. And we can keep you anonymous too if you drop us like an email or a text or whatever to either myself or Angelo. We don't have to like say names or anything like that, but we can answer your question because most likely somebody else has your question too.
Right.
So I want from last week's, I want to ask about the appraisal.
So it came back in yesterday, and it came in at 680.
What did it need to be at?
678. It came in. The first appraisal came in at 664. The other appraisal came in at 680. So, I'm at a loss with appraisals. There was discrepancies on the appraisal that had an incorrect.
Recent one?
This most recent one that had an incorrect room count. The square footage was different. So, who's right? I don't know. So the clients are going with loan number 2 with, of course, a higher appraised value so they can get, the most financing for it. And, I didn't even, they saw the appraisal and I just didn't, I knew if I went and brought that to their attention, which they probably already, they're pretty astute clients. They probably, already saw that. They probably just want to be over this whole process, because they should have closed yesterday, but because of the appraisal issue, we're closing at the 11th, 11th of next month. So, you know, and on this particular appraisal, I guarantee the builder rep was there, because every single piece, every single thing that was in that house was listed on like a data fact sheet, like when it down to the door handles, you know. And so I guarantee that the builder rep was there, like pushing all of whatever was done to this house, and just really, you know, really trying to
influencing.
Correct. I that's my honest opinion of it. Because they, you know, he didn't want to lose that, you know, that money. So of that lower sales price. So, you know, it's,
As the seller's rep, the agent representing the sellers, I agree with that methodology. But if I was representing the buyers, I would have made sure to be there as well.
yeah, right. Yeah.
So
And
that there's some kind of balance.
yeah. Yeah.
And you're representing the buyers. So like you want them to have the best deal. So like it's natural for you to have like, and I would too, if I was the buyer's agent, I'd be like, wow, I still like feel uneasy about this price, because you never want your client
to pay over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so, you know, what am I to do? You know, they are fine with that higher amount. Now they're getting all the financing, you know, taken care of with, you know, with the first and the second. So, you know, and if that makes them happy, then so be it, you know?
Yeah.
There's nothing that, you know, I didn't want to rock the boat again with saying that there's going to be issues with, you know, to try to, you know, the builder rep would have just went ballistic if I even tried to, you know, ask them to take a look at this again. So, and immediately the buyers were just like, all right, we're good with this. We're fine. So if you're fine with it.
So you're saying that the square footage is different than the first appraisal, and the number of bedrooms. So
Correct.
Isn't that something that would be caught in underwriting, kind of?
You would think. Yeah, you would think. It went through QC, and it went through underwriting, and it's right now it's in underwriting. So it has not yet been cleared, but now it's in underwriting to be looked at. So
is the number of bedrooms accurate now, or like were they up? They added a bedroom that wasn't there.
Correct.
And so that's not accurate.
That's not accurate.
So what does that mean?
We'll see what happens in underwriting. If the underwriters want to, you know, you have any explanations about some of his comparable sales, he basically used the same comps as the other appraisal, and he adjusted differently for the adjustment. Yeah. So it's, once again, we are shackled by the appraiser's subjectivity of what he thinks that how the adjustments should be within that range. So it just makes me scratch my head, you know. It stinks, but hey, is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I always, whenever I'm in a situation like this, I say, did I inform the buyer, in this case, of all the facts? So like, as their agent, I would like point out some of the inconsistencies or discrepancies on the new appraisal. And I would say, listen, I understand that you're fatigued going through this. Like, this has been a couple months and it's just been not fun. And so with that being said, it has appraised. And so, you know, we can go on to the next step. But just so you know,
yeah,
based on my professional opinion, I don't believe that this is accurate for X, Y, and Z reasons. But if you're happy and you want to push forward, that is what I will do. You know what I mean? Because like, otherwise, like, you informed and
right,
and that's all you can do. We want happy clients at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't want them to drag on, and, you know, and I said, hey, if you're if you're happy with this outcome, then hey, I'll do, you are my client. I'll do what you ultimately want to end up doing. So, and they move forward with it. So,
well, that's all you can do.
that's all you can do.
I know it's been tough, but
it's been a ride. It's definitely been a roller coaster for this particular transaction. So yeah, so let's go on to another topic.
Yeah.
Occupancy. When is it okay for, or when does it make sense to purchase a primary residence when, let me see how I can word this question. If you, this is kind of something that I'm going through. I had a client purchase a property a couple months ago.
Okay.
And now they want to purchase a new primary because this dream home came on the market.
Okay.
So they want to do it as a primary, and that's a no-go. You can't do it as a primary because it's within a few miles of their current primary, which they just purchased. And they have investment properties too. So it just looks funny. You have to have, I guess the moral of the story is, you gotta have a really good reason, and there's extenuating circumstances that you would be allowed to purchase a new primary within a certain, that quick of a time frame. And it could be job related, it could be divorce, it could, so it's got to be extenuating. I mean, the rule of thumb, 1 year. 1 year. And you purchase a primary in 1 year. If you want to buy something else, it's not going to be really as a primary. It's not going to be really scrutinized. Of course, room count, square footage, location, school districts, things like that. So it has to make a lot of sense. So the particular client that I'm working with, they shot it down as a primary, and they're going to have to classify it as an investment property and then refinance it into their primary residence after 6 months. So
I have a question. Are they selling their primary that they bought? I feel like that's what's getting them.
It could, if they were to put that on the market, if it was on the market, and in their letter of explanation, they would have stated that they were selling the property, we would have had a better chance to get the new house sold as a primary to the underwriter.
Right.
But that's not.
Because in my mind, that would make sense. Like, yeah, it's been under a year. Your dream home came on the market down the street. Totally cool. You're selling your house that you're living in now that you bought a year ago or less, or a couple months ago. So
right.
that everything balances out. But I feel like the kicker is, since that's not what they're doing,
right,
then it's sketchy.
Yeah, you have to, I mean, it's got to make 100% complete sense. I mean, if there was a divorce, or something of that nature, that makes sense, because the proximity was so close as well. It wasn't like it was Charlotte to Gastonia, it was within Charlotte, like within 3 or 4 miles of the other property. So, so it's something to, and I don't think I have really ever came across somebody that's purchased a new primary in such short of a time frame when they just purchased a primary. So it was definitely a learning experience that even a letter of explanation would not, the underwriter would just not accept that as being a new primary, even though the home was bigger, more money, more room count, all that good stuff. So,
and so a couple of things with, when you are getting an investment property and you already have a primary residence, like, you have to put 20% down, right?
Correct. Right.
So when you're buying that other property, so that's why people try to find loopholes, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it looked funny too. And I, going into this, I was like, hey, this is going to look a little
odd.
So you're going to have to write a letter, and, I'm not going to be the one that is, as the ultimate call maker on that. It's going to be up to the underwriter. And it came down to it. At first, the underwriter told me that they would accept that letter as a primary, but when the appraisal came back, they must have looked into it a little more, and they saw that it was really close proximity to the current primary. So they said either you refinance your current primary into an investment before closing, or you can close on this, which they're already putting the money down, the 20+% down. You can close on this as is and classify it as an investment property and pay a higher interest rate. So they opted to make sure everything closes on time. They're just going to go ahead and pay the higher rate, and then in 6 months they're going to go ahead and get it out of that and put it into a primary loan.
Have you ever had a client that was buying an investment property? That was their intention, but they tried to say it was their primary property for lending purposes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So,
and you can read through it pretty easy when you start talking. I mean, because once you start collecting the data from them, their residency history, their work history, the real estate owned section. Once you start putting those dots together, you're like, are you sure? If you're trying to buy, if you live in a, $400,000 house, and then you try, that's 150. That is a big red flag. So.
And I feel like I've had this happen one time where somebody told me they were going to purchase a primary residence, but then they started, as we're looking at properties, they were saying that they were going to rent it out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, now you're disclosing something to me that we are going to have to disclose to the other parties of the transaction.
Right.
Like the lender and the attorney, because the attorney's going to ask you a question. They always ask this question when you're selling and when you're buying. This is your primary residence. When you're buying, you're using this as your primary residence, meaning you're going to move into it in the next, what's the day for?
Within 60 days.
60 days.
That's within 60 days is when they like you to try to move into it. Yep, for a primary residence.
So you have to, at closing, you have to confirm that.
Right.
And can it be construed as fraud? Can it get, you're lying. You're committing fraud when you lie knowing about that.
100%. Yep.
And so I told that client in particular, I told them that what we just said. And I said, I will not participate in that. If that is what you are willing to do, we can look at other ways to finance, right?
Right.
It's my job to protect you.
But you have to protect yourself too.
Right.
Because your name goes on that. Yeah. Because you are tied to that transaction once that thing closes. You're tied. Your name is on that CD.
So I think people don't realize that is a big deal, and you can't lie about that. Yes, of course, like different situations happen, and we're not talking about the exceptions. We're just talking about, the norm, right?
Correct.
And so it's important that if you are going to look at investing, you understand what that means. It means 20% down. It means,
right.
I don't know.
Whatever the guidelines, the debt to income ratio and all that other stuff that goes into that. Now, what about second homes? Because this has been, this is another topic we can explore. Second homes.
Okay.
Can you rent a second home out?
If you have a primary.
If you have a primary residence and you have a beach house, can you rent that property out? Is it allowable to rent that property out?
I'm going to say
not the whole time, not 100% of the year, but just from.
Doesn't it have to be like less than 6 months?
It's basically you have to live in the property 2 weeks out of the year
Oh, just 2 weeks?
It's just two, like that's kind of like their rule of thumb. But Fannie Mae, they've kind of revised the guidelines on second homes because a lot of people rent those homes out from time to time, you know,
Yeah.
and they do allow you to rent that second home out, but you can't use that income to qualify for like a new loan or anything like that. So, so they do allow you to rent out a second home, and you do have to spend, they want to see you spending a majority of the time in the home.
And okay, so you can put less than 20% down on a second home.
Correct, 10%.
10% on a second home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's good to know. I didn't even know about that. Like, I think that, and I've read a lot of headlines lately too, that like people are buying second homes
Yeah.
on the beach, in the mountains. I think a lot because of
VRBO,
coronavirus.
Airbnb. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's an escape for them where they know it's safe, and then they can also generate income.
They can generate some income from it. Yep. Now, the second home, no, I was thinking about something else, about Airbnb income. If you have if you just have an investment property that is strictly rented out Airbnb, do they allow you to use that income as rental income to offset if you wanted to buy a new house?
No.
It was yes and no. Yes,
Okay.
if you've claimed it for 2 years to show a history of that
Okay.
Airbnb, but
And
no
that
if you have,
income.
correct, because it's short-term rental. Because if you have the property for 6 months and you just show Airbnb income from it, they're not going to use it. You have
Right.
to show a 2-year history of that income in order to use that Airbnb, because on your tax returns, filed with the government, all that good
Yeah.
stuff. So
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, yeah, not nuggets today.
I know, just dropping so many nuggets everywhere. I mean, because the second in all these different real estate specific groups that I'm in Facebook, where people are talking about, a lot of times they're talking about agents in different locations. Like, do you know an agent in Myrtle Beach, in Hilton Head, in Asheville? Because people are doing what you're saying. I mean, the second home market and it's smart. I think that there can definitely be, that could be right for some people.
It's hot.
And it's very appealing, especially with the rates being what they are, which, that's what, like, 2020 has changed everyone's perspective on everything, along with these historically low rates that you can get.
Yeah, it's just more affordability with these second homes now. Rates in the fives versus rates in the twos.
Yeah.
The second home rates are basically the same as primaries. So
Wow.
yeah, so you're getting a second home and the rate in the twos. Ooh-wee.
And you just have to show that you're going to be there 2 weeks out of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, legally, technically, you have to, you have to live there at least a portion of the year. They say a portion. I've heard, some people say 2 weeks. It's got to be a couple of weeks out of the year to classify that as a second home.
Okay.
And it's got to be in a second home location. Like, you can't have a second home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's got to be like a beachfront location, or, it could be in a different state if you're going to be with family.
Yeah.
If it's close to family, it's got to make sense.
You can't like get by your neighbor's house and say that's your second home.
Correct. Right.
They'd be like, wait a second.
Yeah, right.
It's funny because I watched Keeping Current Matters, which is a real estate related publication that I get a lot of credible news and stats kind of to share. And they were talking about what we can expect in 2021. And so, the first thing is that I think that we can all agree, especially here in the Charlotte market, that we saw really amazing home price appreciation during this year.
Yep.
Especially, I'm going to say the last 2 quarters of the year. You know, just some of the stats that I share every week and that we talk about. We were talking about, you know, sales prices being up, you know, sometimes 14% year over year.
Right.
Based on that same house selling a year ago, right?
Yeah.
And that is absolutely amazing for sellers. And it was great for buyers because a lot of times they were capturing the low rate.
Right.
So it's a win-win. And and based on what the National Association of Realtors, what's the mortgage broker and the Association of Mortgage Brokers.
The National Association of Mortgage Brokers, NAM, and then there's Association of Independent Mortgage Experts, which is AIM. So those are 2 big ones, and the Mortgage Bankers Association. Those are 3 big mortgage associations.
I think it was the Mortgage Bankers Association and CoreLogic, which is another
that's
national
big data firm.
And Realtor.com. I mean, I like to read a lot about what Realtor.com says because they have some great economists that they pay, and they can because they are a huge platform. So I always like to see what they have to say as well. But based on all that, so the National Association of Realtors predicted at the highest level, they see price appreciation through 2021 to be at 6%. So that was the highest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think CoreLogic, it was either CoreLogic or the MBA was the lowest at like 1.7% price appreciation. Now this is nationally speaking, right?
Ah, okay. Okay.
I think in the Charlotte, first, let's make our predictions on what we think we're going to see price appreciations in 2021 in the Charlotte metro area.
Six and a half.
I think you're probably right. You know me, I tend to be really conservative.
Right.
I want to say 6% based on just stuff I've seen in the local market, but I feel that it's going to be, I feel more comfortable saying like 4.5 to 6.5%. I think that is a good range because I do think that we've had so much price appreciation in 2020 that, you know, I think that there has to be some balances that are going to come into play.
Right.
You know, at some point, the low interest rates are no longer going to help buyers enter the market when the pricing is so high.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. There's going to be a disconnect at some point.
Yeah. So I think that we're going to start seeing that, which is why I feel I'm going a little bit more conservative. And I also think we're going to see more inventory hit the market based on, so in this article I read too, the home builders confidence is at a all-time high. It's been at an all-time high for the last like a couple months, which means, I mean, they're predicting the future, right? Like their confidence says they're building more houses for not necessarily today, but for 3 to 6 plus months down the line.
Yep.
So I think that, and the permit levels, like the number of permits that have been pulled for residential building is also at an all-time high right now.
Oh, wow. Right. And now is that just Charlotte market, or is that like on a national level?
That was in this national level.
Wow.
But you know, Charlotte is it's always in the top 25 markets in the country.
Right.
Always. So I feel confident in, do I think all markets are going to experience a fluctuation of new homes hitting the market by builders? No, but I do feel confident saying that Charlotte will. I think, so I think that more inventory is going to come on the market, which is going to level out how high.
Yeah. So I sent you this link too. It says that this is from Freddie Mac. They're saying, I just looked at this now. It says forecast house prices to increase by 2.4 quarter over quarter in Q3 2020 and 5.5 over the calendar year. Next year, look for house price growth to moderate to 2.6% is what they're saying. So maybe I'm a little high.
Well, I think in some areas you're right on the mark. You're right on the money. Because I think,
I guess,
especially in Charlotte,
right.
I think we're going to see that.
Right. Yeah, I was talking more so much about Charlotte than national.
Yeah.
It says we expect total mortgage originations to reach 1.1 trillion in Q3 2020, and they're expecting 3.6 trillion in for the full year of 2020. For 2021, their purchase mortgage origination forecasts to remain at 1.4 trillion and 2.2 trillion respectively for the year. That's a lot.
So wait, so they're saying they're predicting they're going to end 2020 at.
Correct. Total mortgage originations for the year 2020, they're expecting 3.6 trillion.
Okay.
Trillion.
And then what are they predicting in 2021?
1.4 trillion, while refinance originations are expected at 1.2, total 2.7. So a total 2.7 versus 3.6 for what the forecast for 2020.
So what does that mean? That means less people are going to be buying?
1 trillion less in originations is what they're forecasting.
That's interesting.
It's still 2.7 trillion. It's a lot, but it's from, the results aren't, we're just about at the, this is of course taking into, data from at the end of October. But yeah, 2020, they're expecting total in origination 3.6 and then 2.7 in 2021. That's what they're forecasting. So we'll see. We'll see what that number starts out at next year, and it'll be good to do a Tuesday talk at the end of next year to see if these numbers are, how these numbers pan out.
I think that people are going to be feeling more confident in 2021. I think that it's so great that we have had a vaccine. I think that we're still not out of the woods. I think we're still going to be feeling a crunch for the first half of the year.
Q1, Q2, for sure. Yep.
And I think that, we're going to see the economy all around improve in the third and fourth quarter of 2021. I think what we preach is we're going to tell you the facts. We're going to tell you what we're seeing in our local markets, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, don't buy into headlines. Do what's right for you and your family today.
Right.
So, that's kind of, how we like to do business, and because that's how we'd advise our family, right? So, what do you think about the foreclosure moratorium?
I don't know. I don't quite know how to. I don't know what to think about that. You know,
because they extended it until the 31st
they
of
did.
January.
They did.
And
What's one more month going to do? I mean, it's 1 month. It's just kicking the can down the road, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I'd agree with you, because if people are in trouble and they can't afford their mortgage and they're underwater or whatever the case may be, you know, at some point you've got to make a decision to get in a better place that you can afford.
Yeah, you need to bail out or you know, jump ship, whatever you need to do to, you know, put yourself in that better situation. But yeah, and I think there's a lot of people are going to really start saving money, because this is going to make people's eye open to not having savings account for, you know, checking and savings, living paycheck to paycheck. You know, this may be eye opening for a lot of people.
I mean, especially if you're like in the special event industry or, you know, the hospitality, like those people are like, I can't even imagine, you know, I mean, we're talking about whole sectors of the economy that stopped. I think that we're going to feel that, you know, and there's going to be some consequences for everybody, and it's sad, you know, but I also think that it's going to spur some innovation, and we're going to see some growth in some new areas. I mean, anytime there is a downward trend in the economy, a lot of other new markets and ideas come up. So
very good point.
You know, I think that there's some light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully we'll all get out of this happy and healthy.
Right.
But also too, so, you know, with the holidays, we announced last week that we are doing a giveaway, because we are so grateful for everybody that supports us, follows us, recommends friends and family to us for their real estate and mortgage needs. And so we're going to extend that another week, because I feel like the holidays, it kind of got drowned out.
Yeah. Yep. Good. Perfect.
Yeah. And so to remind everybody what we're doing, we're giving away a Roomba. So if you did not get that for Christmas, this could be your chance.
Yeah.
And we're also going to donate money to your charity of choice. What we said? How much money did we say we were going to donate?
It was $100, wasn't it?
Yeah, $100 to your charity of choice, along with winning a Roomba. And in order, we're going to announce the winner next Tuesday for our Tuesday Talk. So our first Tuesday Talks of 2021.
Really giving away
off the year with a bang.
Perfect.
And in order to win, all you have to do is drop a comment and like our Tuesday Talks. I'm going to say you have to like this week's and next week's and last week's.
Yeah, good point. Yep.
And for an extra entry to win, share, you know, tag an account that
you know, that could potentially need some real estate assistance in the coming year.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the rules, and we're so appreciative for this community, and I feel very blessed that I have you, Angelo, too, because
likewise,
you know, I think, yeah, we're here to inform, like, people, you know, people, the masses, you know, about what's going on in the market. But I feel like I also learn a lot from these discussions, and it's a time for us to, like, you know, kind of get back to basics.
Right. Good stuff. I like it.
Awesome.
Yay. Well, this was fun, as usual.
Yes.
And I guess I'll see you next year is an order for Tuesday Talks.
I think so. We will see you and everyone, and I will see you next year.
Yep.
And I hope y'all have a good, blessed, safe holiday.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. See you next year. Bye-bye.
Bye.